If you've lived with anxiety for any amount of time, you've probably tried to control it. And most people do. And it makes complete sense. If something feels uncomfortable, painful, or even threatening, our instinct is to try to push it away or shut it down. And that works beautifully for external problems. If your switch doesn't work, you could try to flip it again or replace it. If your phone freezes, you can restart it. If your car makes that weird sound, you can take it to the mechanic or try to fix it yourself. Control works really well when you're dealing with the physical world. But when you apply that same strategy to your internal world, your thoughts, feelings, memories, and sensations, it usually backfires. Trying to control anxiety almost always makes anxiety worse. So today, I want to walk you through why that happens and how letting go of the struggle can help you build a healthier, more workable relationship with anxiety. If you're new here, my name is Sean Hardy, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor based here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And on this channel, we're learning acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, and how to live more mindfully. So let us begin by talking about the struggle. Let's start with one of the clearest pictures of this struggle trap. Now, in ACT, we use a metaphor called the tug of war game. And I want you to go ahead and picture yourself in this cosmic battle with your anxiety. So you have yourself on one side and this monster of anxiety on the other side. And between you and this anxiety monster is this huge chasm. Now, you believe that if you lose this game, something terrible will happen. So you pull with everything that you've got. Your hands are burning, your shoulders ache, and you're feeling the grind of constantly battling this anxiety. The thing is that the more that you pull, the harder anxiety pulls back. Now you realize that you have some choices here, but it seems limited. You have the choice of trying harder, or you have the choice of giving in. Now, you can't always pull harder. Sometimes you need to get your strength back. You need to relax. And so you give in. But if you give in too much, you might fall into this chasm. But there is a third option. And it doesn't seem like an option to us at all if you have anxiety. And that is to let go of the rope. Now, to let go of the rope isn't to just lose the game, to surrender and give up, but it's to say, I don't have to struggle with this game. It's realizing that you don't have to win this battle by pulling harder or giving in. You can win by simply dropping the rope. Dropping the rope doesn't make anxiety vanish. It's still there, but it ends the struggle. And when the struggle ends, the suffering decreases. This is one of the most important shifts ACT offers. Instead of fighting your internal experiences, you change your relationship with it. And it starts by letting go of the struggle. Growing up, you probably learned not to touch a stove. Maybe you learned it the hard way, or maybe you learned it because your parent warned you. Don't touch that, you'll get burned. And that lesson made sense. Avoiding the hot stove kept you safe. It prevented real physical harm. It taught you that when something hurts, you pull away. But anxiety doesn't follow those rules. When you treat anxiety like a hot stove, when you instinctively pull away from emotional discomfort, you don't get safer. You get more anxious. Avoidance works great for physical danger. If you keep your hand away from something hot, you won't get burned. But avoiding anxiety, avoiding difficult thoughts, avoiding uncomfortable feelings, that doesn't protect you. It actually intensifies the discomfort. Anxiety thrives in avoidance. The more you pull away from it, the stronger the fear response becomes. It's like telling your brain, this feeling is dangerous, so sound the alarm even louder next time. So think about times when you tried to avoid emotional discomfort, only to discover that the anxiety grew, not shrank. That's because you've been using the same strategy that works for external dangers, control and avoidance, and then applying it to internal experience, where it backfires. Emotional pain doesn't behave like physical danger. You can't protect yourself from anxiety by running from it. You only strengthen it. And this is one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in the struggle. Anxiety isn't just one thing, it's a combination of thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations, images, memories, and urges. And the problem is that these internal experiences don't seem to obey the same rules that the outside world does. You can't flip a switch and stop a thought. You can't restart your mind, and you can't uninstall a feeling like you can uninstall an app. But we try anyways, don't we? We fight thoughts. We push away feelings. We avoid situations that create anxiety. And we tense our bodies trying to calm down. Underneath all of that is a belief that if I can control how I feel, then I'll finally be okay. In ACT, we call this the control agenda. And it's the idea that you must eliminate internal discomfort before you can start living your life. But here's what really happens. You see, anxiety doesn't grow because something is wrong with you. Anxiety grows because you're fighting it. When you resist the feeling, your brain learns that the feeling itself is dangerous. When you avoid a situation, your brain learns anxiety is something to escape. And when you push away a thought, it comes back with even more intensity. Trying to control your internal experiences teaches your nervous system that anxiety is a threat, and that keeps you stuck in this cycle. Here's an exercise that reveals something most people misunderstand about emotions. So I want you to find a comfortable position for a moment that's free of distractions. And when you're ready, I want you to try this and really, really put effort into it. So make yourself feel as happy as you possibly can, but without thinking about anything that makes you happy. So that's the challenge. So no memories, no images, no anticipation, just flip the switch to super happy. So take a moment and try. If you notice that you couldn't do it without imagining something joyful, that's completely normal. Because what we usually call creating happiness is actually remembering or imagining something meaningful. But simply choosing happiness on command, that's not how emotions work. Now let's flip it. Try to make yourself anxious or afraid without thinking about anything stressful or dangerous. So no scary imagery, no threatening situations. Just flip the internal switch to fear. So give it a try. Now, most people can't do it. And to really highlight the point, try imagining these possibilities. Force yourself to fall deeply head over heels in love with the next person you see, or make your left leg completely numb. So numb that you wouldn't feel a needle prick. You can't do those things because emotions and sensations don't obey commands. There is no internal lever you can pull that says, feel this now. This is the part people often miss. Emotions happen as you engage with life. They arise from context, memory, sensations, environment, and meaning, not from willpower alone. You can choose your actions, you can choose your direction, but you cannot manually turn feelings on or off like flipping a switch. And here's why this matters so much for anxiety. When you try to control unpleasant thoughts or force unpleasant feelings to stop, your nervous system reacts. It tightens, becomes hyper aware. It amplifies the very discomfort you're trying to eliminate. Your body is an interconnected system, and any attempt to suppress or avoid emotional pain sends ripples through that system, increasing tension, fear, and reactivity. This is why trying to calm down often makes anxiety jump, and why trying not to think about it pulls the thought even closer. There is no on-off switch for feelings, but there is a way to stop making the switch the goal. I want you to try to imagine something for a moment, because this exercise reveals exactly why trying to stay calm makes anxiety worse. Picture yourself hooked up to the most advanced polygraph machine ever created. This thing is perfect. It can detect the slightest flicker of anxiety, one tiny spike of worry, one flutter in your chest, one moment of doubt. You can't fool it. Now here's your mission. Think about a recent situation that usually triggers your anxiety, but stay completely calm while you do it. If you succeed, You walk away with a life-changing $100,000. But there's a catch. If the machine detects any anxiety at all, you get shocked. A lethal shock. No second chances. So your job is simple. Stay calm, no anxiety, no tension, no fear, just relax. Now let me ask you, do you think you'd get the money? Or would that first tiny flicker of worry, that first what if I get anxious thought, trips the alarm and shocks you instantly? Most people realize right away there's no way they could stay calm in that situation. Because the moment you tell your body you must stay calm, your nervous system reacts with, what if I can't? What if something goes wrong? The anxiety spikes. Zap. This is what daily life feels like for many people with anxiety. As if they're wired to an internal polygraph machine, they must keep quiet at all costs. They navigate conversations, work, driving, social situations, moments where they have to perform, or quiet moments at home with the constant pressure of don't get anxious, don't panic, don't mess this up, don't feel that. And every time they try to suppress that feeling, zap. Control creates more of the very thing that you're trying to control. This is why ending the struggle starts by understanding what's actually in your control and what isn't. There's two categories for what you can and what you cannot control. Let's look at what you cannot control first. You cannot control what thoughts show up. You cannot control what emotions arise. You cannot control what sensations appear. You cannot control what memories surface. You cannot control how your body automatically reacts. And you cannot control how quickly anxiety fades or how long it stays. But you can control how you respond. You can control where you place your attention. You can control whether you open up or shut down. You can control what small actions you take right now. You can control how you treat yourself in difficult moments. And you can control the values you move toward. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean liking anxiety or agreeing with it. It means shifting from struggle to willingness. Willingness is a core skill and act. You could call it a master key skill that opens up all the other skills. But for now, just hold on to this idea. You don't need anxiety to disappear before you can live your life. You only need to stop fighting it and open up to willingness. That shift from struggle to willingness is what frees you to grow. A lot of people spend years waiting for anxiety to disappear or decrease enough before they start living their life, before they start taking the risk, start the project, join the cause, speak up, reach out, doing something meaningful. But the truth is the opposite. Your life actually expands when your struggle with anxiety decreases. You don't need anxiety to go away. You need your relationship with anxiety to change, to make a shift. When you stop pulling on the rope, when you stop trying to control what you cannot control, anxiety becomes something you can move with, not something you must conquer. And that's the beginning of real freedom. If you want to make the most of this and take the next step, make sure to download the free worksheet at seanhardy.com. And if you want to keep learning, you're going to love the next video in this series. It's all about this question that changes everything. Are you willing? Click on the next video and I'll see you there. And remember, your journey towards a more purposeful and meaningful life begins with a single click.